Hi, in this video I'm going to introduce Google Forms. Once you're in Google Drive, you can create a form by clicking the Create button and Form. You'll be presented with this window that lets you name your form and pick a theme. Pick a name that will let you identify the form later on and any theme that suits you. At the top you can see these settings. The first one will make only people with a St Pat's College username able to log in to see the form. I'm going to disable that today. The second one will collect the username of the person responding automatically. I'm going to collect that data a different way. And the third one, if your form has multiple pages, then clicking this shows a little progress bar at the bottom that lets people see roughly how far they are through the form. The first question I generally ask is the names and email address of the student. I'm going to split that up into first name, surname and email address. And I want that to be a text question, so that they enter their answer in a little text box. I'm going to make it a required question, really useful later on to have the first name, the surname and the email address. Data validation, you can check text if you want to, so it forces the user to only enter text items in there. And so that's my first one done. I'm going to add another one, this time surname. I'll make that a required question, and once again I'll go into data validation and click text. Now, to demonstrate another way of creating a similar question, you can hit the duplicate button, and this time I'm going to use what I had before, but I'm going to change it slightly to ask them for their email address. Having them enter their email address is really useful later on. It means that we're going to be able to email them back some feedback using an add-on to Google Forms. Once again, it's a text question, it's a required question, and you can set the data validation to text and make sure that it contains an email address. So it has to have @something.something tagged onto the end of it. Click done when you're happy with that, and then we can start adding some of the questions to our form. And so multiple choice is the first one we're looking at. You enter your question in the question title box. The help text, you can add any extra information you want to, and the options that will be presented are introduced here. So you click on the first one and you type in whatever you want the option to be, and then for every other option you want to add, there's no limit as far as I know, you just click on the click to add option and enter another one. If you want to add an option for the respondent to enter their own answer rather than pick from the list that you present to them, you just use that add other. You can remove options using the little cross button next to it. I'm not going to make this a required question. The only ones that I've set as required are the ones that I need to identify the student or respondent. In multi-choice, students can only enter one answer. It might be that you want them to pick from multiple options, and so you could use the checkbox question type. So here the options work much the same as they did before. and again you can add other if you want to. When you're happy with your question, you click done, and that builds it into the form. Choose from a list gives a drop down menu. Okay. The paragraph question allows respondents to enter a whole heap of text, and so it can be quite good for getting them to write extended answers. So those are the basic question types covered. There's some more under advanced that I won't go into today. And under layout, you can separate your form into sections. You can include page breaks, so you might only want 5 questions per page, and then the user would click next to move on to the next 5. You might want to insert an image. Let's try that. There's a whole heap of options on the left where you can get those images from. I'm just going to upload one today from my computer. There we go. So I can give the image a title and some text that will appear if the user hovers the cursor over it. And you can change the position of it. Done. Then you might want to ask a question about the image, and so you might include and we could add a video as well. So this is really handy. You can just type into YouTube the title of the video you want. I'm just going to pick something at random. This will do. And then it'll put that video inside your form so the person can play the video through your form. They can also click on the video and they can open it up in YouTube if they want larger screen viewing, etc. Give it a title and a caption. And then when you're happy, click done. And again, you might want to include questions about the video underneath. Okay, and so that's a pretty basic form. If you want to see what it looks like as you're making it, you can go up into View Live Form at the top, and it'll open up in a tab the form as it would appear to anybody you sent it out to. So you can see what we've got laid out there. And as I said, you can play the video within the form. And you can adjust all the settings just as you would in YouTube. And the submit button at the bottom is what the user would press to pass the data in for that form. You can click on edit this form to go back to the editing options, or you can just click back along your tab at the top of the page. There's some options down in the bottom. You can type in a confirmation message here. So when the user hits submit, they get a message from you about the form. You can show a link to offer them another chance to fill in the form again from scratch. Checking this box means that when the respondent has completed the form, they can see all of the results from everybody who's responded to the form. And this last one allows a person to edit their responses after they've submitted the form. And that can be really useful if you want the student to go through the form a number of times trying to improve their score. And once you've created your form and you've adjusted the settings to what you want, you can click Send Form and enter the email addresses for the people you want to send that form to. So I might want to send it to my Science 102 class, and you can include a custom message, and when you're happy with that you click Send. Okay, the only other thing I might want to do is to set up a place for the responses to be stored. Now with Google Docs, any responses from a form are stored in a spreadsheet, and so you can go up into Responses and you can change the response destination. Now on mine it's set to automatically create a spreadsheet with the same name as the form, but yours might not be that way, and so you can go into Change Response Destination and you can set it up to be a new spreadsheet. You can see here I've checked that it always creates a new spreadsheet whenever I create a form. Or you might want to add a sheet to an existing spreadsheet, so if you have 5 or 6 forms for a class, then every form is being fed back into one spreadsheet. Okay, that's the basics covered. In part 2 I'll look at how we can use an add-on to automatically mark responses from forms and give quick feedback to a whole class. Thanks for listening, and if you've got any questions or you want a hand setting up forms, just let me know.